Should Manny Pacquiao retire or should he continue to fight on? Well, all these different opinions has been interesting. I was surprised at Teddy Atlas's opinion because usually Teddy Atlas in the past has been critical towards Pacquiao. Obviously he's given him a lot of credit as well, so I'm not saying he's always been critical, but on his recent podcast he was saying that Pacquiao looked great, that he didn't look shot, and he looks like he can go again. Personally, I'd rather Pacquiao retire, but if he does have another fight, I'd personally like to see him rematch Ugas. I think that would make sense. I watched the fight back and I found it a lot different watching the fight back the second time. When you watch a fight live, you know, with all the emotions and your perception is kind of different. You know, you kind of, if you really want to get a clear understanding of the fight, it's good to watch it a second time round. And yeah, Ugas won the fight quite convincingly, but it was a close fight. And it's kind of crazy to think, right, that Pacquiao threw 800 punches, 800 and something, to Ugas's 400, and he still lost the fight. If I said to you, right, if you didn't see the fight and I said, okay, I'm not going to tell you the result, but I'm going to tell you the punch stats, and then you're going to guess who won. So Pacquiao threw over 800 punches, and Yordenis Ugas threw 400. Who do you think won? Most people would say, of course, Pacquiao, or the person who threw more, but it didn't go that way. So yeah, Ugas kind of landed the cleaner shots. It kind of appeared that way more consistently. But Pacquiao, Pacquiao did outwork him. I do agree with Atlas. I didn't agree with what Teddy Atlas said when I first watched it, but watching the fight back, I kind of scored it Ugas winning by a round or two. So I did have Ugas winning, but it was very close. So I think if Pacquiao does want to go again and rematch him, it's not 100%. I'm not 100% confident, but I think Pacquiao could beat him if he can, make some adjustments. Freddie Roach and his team, Boo Boy, and adjust to Ugas' style. But now Pacquiao's been in the ring with him and got to know him, I think he'd be a lot better prepared for the rematch, if there is a rematch. I'm not confident that there is one. But then you could argue the same about Ugas. But yeah, look, considering Pacquiao's almost 43 and he's been out the ring for 2+ years, that was a pretty great performance from Pacquiao. He's not this prime Pacquiao. I didn't think he was as good as even the version that fought Thurman. But you have to give him credit, man. He was still, his hands were fast, combinations. He showed massive heart. He didn't get knocked out. He didn't get stopped. And if you look at Ugas's face, it's evident that he did hit him. Must have hit him with a lot of shots, because Ugas is, marked up, got like swollen eye, black eye. Obviously Pacquiao did as well. So I wouldn't really like to see Pacquiao fight. I'm not really keen on the Josh Taylor fight. For me, that doesn't make sense. Well, for me, Pacquiao's, it's just too good. Why? Like, it's not worth the risk. You know what I mean? No disrespect to Taylor, but Josh Taylor can't lace up Manny Pacquiao's boots. All these fighters can't. He's an absolute legend. So for me, the only fight that makes sense if he continues is the Ugas rematch. I don't really like the Spence fight, because we don't know what's happening with Spence with the injuries, so we can't be sure. But I do like the Ugas rematch, because I do think if Pacquiao goes again and he got beat again, fine. You just put it down to him. It's his time, but it won't harm his legacy. The achievement's too great. But if he did get the win, it would be fantastic. Maybe do the last fight in the Philippines in front of his countrymen, and I think he could get the win. I think he could come up with a different game plan. And now he knows those little tricks that Ugas was doing, like, that big right hand over the top, that caught Pacquiao. But I have to say this, Teddy Atlas is right again. Pacquiao did block a lot of shots, and some of the shots looked like they were landing, but they were hitting the gloves, or they were he was getting his hand up in time. But look, Ugas did land a lot of shots as well. But all in all, it was a close fight. If you look at it and you score it round by round and you look at the fight carefully, It was a war. It was an exciting fight. But yeah, I'd rather see Pacquiao retire, or if he's going to have one more, do the Ugas rematch and see if he can get the W and get the win. But listen, man, Pacquiao has done it all. All these fighters that are dying to get his name on their resume, they're never going to achieve what Pacquiao has done. And you know, no disrespect, it's just the truth. They're never going to be remembered like Pacquiao. Many people now, including myself, are saying that he'll go down as the greatest ever. Some won't agree with that. I respect that's your opinion, but he'll definitely, if he's not the greatest ever, he is one of the greatest ever, and that in itself is an incredible achievement. So it's kind of weird because this is Pacquiao's loved so much. Even when he loses, it's almost like he becomes even bigger. People love him even more. Obviously, it's disappointing. I wanted him to win badly. But because of what he's done, because he's stamped his authority in history and being an 8-weight world champion, you know, winning in 8 different weight categories and, you know, reigning lineal champion and, you know, 4 or 5 times welterweight champion and all the different weights and all the legends that he's beaten and reigning for 4 decades. It's just, you know, he's really stamped his authority. Now, obviously, if he goes and runs for president and he becomes president of the Philippines, and I mean, that's just, what can you say? That's just on another level. But yeah, I think the Ugas-Pacquiao rematch sells. I know some people won't agree with it, but in some way that sells even more than the Spence fight at this time because of the fact that Pacquiao's just had that really tough fight of Ugas and he's lost the fight. You know, and Ugas now is kind of like, you know, when you win, everyone is talking about you. Where with Spence, he's brilliant, but we don't know what's going on, if he's going to fight again, if his injuries are fixed or healed, or who knows, if he does have a fight and he fought Pacquiao, if he gets hit on the eye, it could be worse. He could get a broken orbital bone, or it could open up injuries. So it's not 100% on that. And I don't really like that fight now with Pacquiao being right at the end of his career. And as good as he looked, he didn't look his best. You could see that he has slowed down. You know, just it's not the same, but he still has the incredible hand speed and power. But yeah, it's true though, Ugas, he looked big in there. He did look a lot bigger than Pacquiao. He just looked, it almost looked like a middleweight in there. He looked tall, long, rangy, and it really did show with the size difference. But yeah, that's all I've really got to say on it today. Let me know your thoughts. What do you think? Do you think Pacquiao should retire and go off and do his you know, service to his country and continue being a senator, or reign and campaign and see if he can get the presidency? Or do you think he should have another one, have a fight and rematch Ugas? Or do you disagree with me? Do you think he should fight a different fighter, Spence? Or for me, I don't like the Josh Taylor fight. It doesn't make sense. Manny coming down to 140. For me, I just don't like that fight. I don't know, I just don't feel excited about that. I just think Manny would have killed these guys even 2 years ago. I'd still have to pick Manny to beat Josh Taylor if they fought, but it's, you know, it's playing Russian roulette again because Taylor's a lot younger, Manny's getting older now every few months. But if they're going to do the fight, I think he should rematch Ugas in the Philippines, last fight. Do it as quick as possible, you know, 6 months time or even a bit quicker. Get a great game plan. Hopefully Pacquiao's legs won't cramp up again. He's having a lot of problems with that. I don't think it's an excuse. I don't think Manny's not the type of man to make excuses and like other fighters. And you could kind of see that he couldn't really move around. And, you know, we can say father time, but I could also pose this question. If it was father time with regards to him not having that speed in his legs, why were his hands so fast then? Well, I suppose some people might come back and say, well, your legs go as you get older, and that is true. But I don't know, the jury is still out on that. We've got to give Pacquiao the benefit of the doubt. But at the end of the day, yeah, no excuses. He lost the fight, but it was close. And I do think that he could. It's not impossible. He could beat Ugas in the rematch. Now he's kind of, they know each other. Pacquiao's got quite a good he's got quite a good resume when it comes to rematches and things like that. And it was an awkward style, you know. And he was preparing for Errol Spence for like 11 weeks, and the last week he pulls out. So it's been a strange kind of build up. So I think a second fight would really finalise who is the better fighter at this moment in time. But there's no question of a doubt. Manny in his prime, or even Manny a couple of years ago, would have wiped the floor with Yordenis Ugas. But at the same time, I'm not knocking Ugas. He's a good human being. He's a gentleman. You can't say a bad word about him. And he boxed a great fight. He's got the respect that he deserves now. And hopefully, if Pacquiao doesn't do the rematch, he'll get a big fight with Errol Spence or Crawford, or I'd even maybe like to see a rematch of him and Porter, because a lot of people think he won that fight and didn't get decisions. So all credit to Ugas. But yeah, prime Pacquiao, too much work for any of these guys. And you can see that Pacquiao's just starting to, it's subtle, but he's starting to lose that accuracy that he had 5 years ago, even 2 years ago, where he was like a laser. He would laser in and bam, bam. And, you know, now it feels like his timing in certain spurts was out. And I've noticed that Pacquiao doesn't throw as much as he used to. Like when he fought, obviously he's older now, when he fought Margarito, it was like a machine gun. It was like 7 punches, 8. He'd have a break for a second, and then it will be back again. But you notice in the Ugas fight, Pacquiao fought great, but in spurts. He wasn't as consistent. But you can't knock him for that, because of obviously his age. He's not going to be the same every year as he gets older. But considering all the factors, age, cramps, different opponent, he lost like a champion. He didn't let himself down, or the fans. He still fought with more heart than most boxers. He never quit. He was trying to win from round 1 to 12. So yeah, if Pacquiao retires now, it's great. But I'd probably like to see him call it a day. But if he has one more, I'd like to see a rematch with Yordenis Ugas to see what plays out in that, all right? We'll talk boxing soon. Appreciate all the support. Like, share, subscribe. And let me know, more importantly, what your thoughts are in the box below, because all of you that follow the channel and comment on the videos, your opinion matters to me than any, you know, top pundit or outlet or this, you know, boxing news or whoever they are. You guys' opinion is what matters as far as I'm concerned, all right? See you soon.